The autumn rain fell soft and steady over Prague that October evening. It turned the old gas lamps on Charles Bridge into warm golden halos. I stood on the old town side, coat collar turned up against the damp, watching the black Vltava slide silently beneath the statues of saints. Those stone faces had watched lovers, kings, and broken hearts for centuries. They never judged. My phone buzzed again in my pocket. Marquetta. I let it ring out. 6 months earlier, on a warm May night under this same bridge, everything changed. We sat on the wide stone parapet, legs dangling above the dark water, sharing a small bottle of Frankowka. The plum brandy tasted sweet and sharp. She looked at me with those pale green eyes I had loved since we were both 18. Toma, she said quietly, I've met someone. I'm sorry. I think I'm in love with him. Just like that. His name was Richard. British. Investment banker. 10 years older. Smooth accent. Flat in Mallestrana with a view of the castle. He took her to expensive restaurants she had only seen from the outside. Weekends in Vienna. Business class flights to London. I was a restorer of old frescoes. My hands were always dusted with pigment. My flat smelled of turpentine and old books. The floorboards were stained with 20 years of paint. I didn't shout. I didn't beg. I just said, if that's what you want, go. She cried. Said she never meant to hurt me. That we had grown apart. That she needed to feel alive again. I nodded. The next day I helped her pack. Carried her suitcases down the narrow stairs. Kissed her cheek goodbye in the courtyard where the lindens were just opening their leaves. Then I walked away. I deleted her number, unfollowed her everywhere, threw myself into the Baroque ceiling of the Strahov Monastery library. Nights on scaffolding, breathing centuries-old plaster dust. Days blurred into nights. I drank beer with colleagues in smoky pubs, in IKOV, listened to folk music in small bars, hiked alone in bohemian paradise. When the leaves turned gold, I told myself I was healing. But some nights, walking home across the bridge, I still looked for her silhouette among the tourists. Then, 6 months later, she came back. A cold Thursday in November. The first real frost glittered on the cobblestones. I was locking my bike outside the flat when I heard her voice. Toma. She stood under the street lamp, wrapped in the same navy coat she wore the night she left. Cheeks pink from the cold. Hair longer now. I stopped. Said nothing. Can we talk? She asked. I let her in. The flat smelled of turpentine and fresh coffee. She sat on the old velvet sofa, where we used to read together. I stayed standing. Richard and I, it's over, she said. It ended badly. He was not who I thought. I waited. He was married, she whispered. In London. 2 children. He never told me. When his wife found out, he chose them. Said I was just a fling. A midlife mistake. Her voice cracked. I've been alone since September. I've thought about you. Every day. I made the biggest mistake of my life, Toma. I know I don't deserve it. But can we try again? She looked up, eyes shining with tears. Something twisted inside me. Part old pain, part something colder. I sat across from her. Do you remember? I said slowly, when we were 22. We restored that little chapel in Kralova Koruna together. You found the hidden fresco of the Virgin behind the plaster. You cried because it was so beautiful. She nodded, smiling through tears. That's how I felt about you, I said. Like something rare, something sacred. I was lucky to uncover you. And you threw it away for a lie in a suit. I know, she whispered. I was stupid, selfish. Please. I held up a hand. I'm not the same man you left. She frowned, confused. The months she was gone, I had done more than work. Richard had a reputation. I knew people who knew people. A journalist friend at Respect owed me a favor. A former classmate worked at the financial analytical office. Quiet conversations in cafes. Anonymous tips. It started small. Questions about undeclared income from Prague property investments. Then deeper. Offshore accounts in Cyprus. Backdated contracts. Bribes to zoning officials for luxury developments in Letany. By October, investigators were circling. His firm launched an internal review. Clients pulled out. His visa status came under scrutiny. Overstayed permits. Questionable residency declarations. He fled back to London in early November, just days before Marquetta appeared at my door. Left behind debts, a ruined reputation, and a small scandal that made the business pages of Hospodské noviny. I never touched him, never raised my voice. I simply made sure the truth caught up with him. Marquetta knew none of this. She reached for my hand. I miss us. I miss coming home to you. The way you make horka colada when I'm sad. The way you hum Moravian folk songs when you're painting. Please, Toma. I'll do anything. I looked at her hand on mine. Familiar. Warm. I felt nothing. Not hate. Not satisfaction. Just distance. Like looking at a fresco that had faded beyond restoration. I gently pulled my hand away. I'm seeing someone, I said smoothly. Her face changed. Her name is Lucy. She's a conservator too. We met on a project in Zlate Hory this summer. Oh, she said faintly. She's kind, honest. She looks at me like I'm enough. The words landed like stones. I saw the pain flash across her face. For a moment I wondered if I had become the kind of man I always disliked. Then I remembered carrying her suitcases down the stairs while she cried about how much she loved him. I remembered nights staring at the ceiling, wondering if I would ever feel whole again. I'm sorry, Marquetta, I said, but you made your choice, and I made mine. She stood, trembling. I understand, she whispered. I hope you're happy. She left quietly. The door closed with a soft click. I stood at the window, watching her walk down the street, past the tram stop, disappearing into the fog rolling in from the river. Winter came early that year. Snow blanketed the red rooftops, muffled the city. I spent Christmas in the mountains with Lucy, a quiet woman with gentle hands and a laugh like wind chimes. We restored a small wooden church in Kamena together, breath fogging in the cold air, fingers brushing as we mixed pigments. One evening in January, walking across Charles Bridge hand in hand, snow falling around us like grace, she asked about the woman in the old photos I still hadn't removed from the shelf. I told her the truth. She listened without judgment. Then she said, "Pain changes us, but it doesn't have to define us." I looked up at the saints, their stone faces softened by centuries of weather. For the first time since Marquetta left, I believed the words. Somewhere across the city, I heard Marquetta had moved back with her parents in Brands nad Labem, taken a job teaching art history at a local gymnasium, started painting again. I hope she finds peace. I hope she understands one day why I couldn't take her back. Not because I wanted revenge, but because I finally chose myself. The river keeps flowing under the bridge. And life, like Prague itself, endures. Beautiful, scarred, but still standing.